After becoming Prime Minister, Narendra Modi has been focusing on making India self-reliant, be it pharma, defense or manufacturing. India has been steadily becoming self-reliant. There's still a lot to do, but what has been achieved and what's happening shouldn't be ignored. There are so many fields where India has little or no presence. The country relies on foreign products in these fields. One of them is the operating system. This is not just dominated by the United States, but the country has a monopoly, be it Apple's iOS or Microsoft Windows or Google's Android. America is clearly having a monopoly in this field, but that's about to change now. Welcome to bharos. It's an indigenously developed operating system. Bar is taken from Bharat, OS is nothing but operating system. Together, it is bharos. It is an Indian government funded operating system. IIT Madras incubated non-profit J&K Operations Private Limited developed this system. Now, is it similar to Android? Yes and no, because this operating system was developed based on Android open source project. It means the functionalities of both the operating system are same, but unlike Android, there aren't any default apps in bharos. It means users have the freedom to download whatever they want. The developers claim the operating system is better than both iOS and Android. Once it gets into the market, the system will reduce India's dependence on foreign operating systems. This is currently being pitched as just a mobile operating system. Google and Apple dominate this field with their operating systems. With the new entrant, it will be interesting to see how bharos will compete with the two giant tech behemoths. There's more to this. bharos is also being planned to make it available for desktops and laptops. This area is now dominated by Windows. With a government-funded program like bharos, India is planning to end the American monopoly. bharos is not the only indigenous system India is planning to introduce. There's NAVIC, India's own navigation system. This was developed by ISRO. Currently, India relies on GPS, and once NAVIC is launched on a large scale, it will end the American hegemony in the navigation sector. One should not forget that during the 1999 Kargil War, India asked for coordinates of Pakistan's vantage points. But America refused to share the information. It means US controls GPS and can turn it off based on its interests. This clearly is not in India's favor. But with NAVIC, India will no longer have to depend on GPS. NAVIC is said to be better than GPS. While GPS is placed at a lower orbit, NAVIC is placed at a higher position. It means NAVIC cannot be obstructed like GPS. While GPS uses a single frequency, NAVIC uses dual frequency. But unlike GPS, NAVIC isn't global yet. India is planning to expand the reach of NAVIC by launching more satellites. Currently, there are only 5 navigation systems in the world. America's GPS, the EU's Galileo, Russia's GLONASS, China's BeiDou, and Japan's QZSS. Now imagine India launching an alternative to US navigating system and operating system. The journey undoubtedly will not be smooth for India. The government knows this. Speaking about bharos, IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said, many people in the world will bring difficulties and don't want the Indian system to be successful. There is no doubt about it. Let me give you 2 instances. The first is the RuPay card. Before that, the Indian market was dominated by US MasterCard and Visa. But RuPay changed everything. Its market share is currently more than 50%. This has irked American companies. They complained to the American government about Indian government backing RuPay. Did you see it? American companies couldn't digest the truth that they got a local competitor, because this is causing a dent in the American company's share. The latest is the COVID vaccine. Although India already had Covaxin and Covishield, American companies like Pfizer lobbied to sell their vaccines to India, but not on Indian terms. Initially, the company claimed its medicine's efficacy as 80%. Later, it turned out to be false. We all have seen how the company's CEO dodged to answer questions about the vaccine's efficacy. This is all happening now. But during COVID, things were different. Several Congress leaders and so-called intellectuals pressurized the government to bring Pfizer into the country. But the Indian government didn't succumb to Western pressure. The company couldn't enter into the country, which has the second largest population. This market is what attracts foreign companies. But they don't want to work as per India's interests. Instead, they just want to dump their products and earn profits. They are using a powerful lobby to to put pressure on Indian government to bend to their will. But the government is resisting and is developing homegrown alternatives. Whatever examples I have given shows how America is trying to stop India's self-reliance journey. But bharos and Navic are a completely different game. Imagine if India tells cell phone manufacturers that they should replace Android with bharos. Imagine if South Asian countries prefer Navic over GPS. Once bharos enters the market, Google will lose billions of dollars. If India is able to bring African and Asian countries into this game, it will end America's hegemony. We are seeing several countries willing to trade with international rupee instead of the dollar. UPI is also being accepted in more and more countries nowadays. Imagine how India's position will reach to new heights if it replaces US in the operating system field. If African and Asian countries prefer India's navigation system instead of GPS, it will be a nightmare for US because these countries know India can be a more reliable partner than US. India has already proved that by sending COVID vaccines. Through Vaccine Maitri, India exported crores of vaccine to countries, which was acknowledged and even appreciated. It has elevated India's position on a global scale. Sure, these two may be work in progress, but they will come into the market in the future. And when that happens, America's clout will be dented. And US will go to any extent to stop this from happening. Is this what Ashwini Vaishnav was referring to? Whatever the case may be, India's new achievements are really a game changer for the nation. At the same time, it becomes a target for several lobbies.
Please subscribe to Nationalist Hub English channel for more interesting videos, and don't forget to like and share this video. Nationalist Hub, it's a news revolution.